October 1987. Diana phones Freddie Mercury at midnight. "I need to disappear," she says. 2 hours later, she's in disguise, walking into a club the royals would never approve of. By dawn, she's laughing, free, and alive. But what happened in between? And what secret did Freddie make her promise to keep? You know, sometimes the most extraordinary stories aren't the ones written in history books. They're the ones whispered between friends in the early hours of the morning, the ones that never made it to the newspapers. The secrets that stayed secrets because they were too precious, too real, too human to share with the world. This is one of those stories. It's past midnight in Kensington Palace, October 1987, the kind of autumn night in London where the air is cold enough to see your breath, but not quite cold enough to snow. Inside the palace, everything is quiet. The staff has gone to bed. The security guards are doing their rounds, but they're used to the silence. This is what palaces are supposed to be like at night. Silent, orderly, perfect. But in her private quarters, Princess Diana can't sleep. She hasn't been able to sleep properly in months, maybe years. She's sitting on the edge of her bed, still in her evening gown from a charity dinner she attended earlier that night. The dress is beautiful, custom-made, worth more than most people earn in a year. But she can't wait to take it off. It feels like a costume. Everything feels like a costume lately. She looks at herself in the mirror across the room. Even from here, even in the dim light, she can see what the world sees. Princess Diana, the most photographed woman on earth, the fairy tale princess, the fashion icon, the mother, the wife of the future king. But what she sees is different. She sees a woman who's tired, so tired, tired of smiling when she wants to cry, tired of waving when she wants to run, tired of being perfect when she's falling apart inside. Her hands are shaking, not from cold, not from fear, from exhaustion, the kind of exhaustion that comes from living a life that isn't really yours. She stands up and walks to her private phone. It's one of the few places in the palace where she feels like she can breathe, where she can make calls without feeling like someone is listening, judging, reporting back. She picks up the receiver and dials a number she's memorized. Her fingers move automatically. She's called this number before, during other dark nights, other moments when she felt like she was drowning. It rings once, twice. Then a voice, warm and amused even at this ungodly hour. "Darling, do you know what time it is?" Freddie Mercury, one of the few people in her life who doesn't treat her like a princess, who sees her as Diana, just Diana. Her voice cracks when she speaks. "Freddie, I need to disappear." There's a pause on the other end. Not a long pause, but enough for Diana to wonder if she said too much, if she's being dramatic, if she should apologize and hang up. But then Freddie says something that only a true friend would say, something that doesn't involve questions or judgment or concern about what this might mean for his own reputation if anyone found out. He simply says, "Give me 2 hours, and trust me." Diana closes her eyes. Relief washes over her. "Thank you." She whispers, "Don't thank me yet, darling," Freddie says, and she can hear the smile in his voice. "Just be ready, and wear something you don't mind ruining." He hangs up. Diana stands there for a moment, phone still in her hand, wondering what she's just set in motion. But she doesn't care. For the first time in months, she feels something other than numbness. She feels anticipation, maybe even excitement. She has 2 hours. She takes off the evening gown and puts on something simple. Jeans, a sweater, things she rarely gets to wear, things that make her feel normal. She waits. At exactly 2 a.m., there's a soft knock at her door. Not the main entrance. A side door that very few people know about. Diana opens it, and there's Freddie, looking exactly like Freddie. Leather jacket, tight jeans. That confidence that comes from knowing exactly who you are and not apologizing for it. He's carrying a bag. "Ready for an adventure?" he asks, grinning. Diana nods, even though her heart is pounding, even though she knows this is crazy, even though she knows that if anyone finds out, the scandal would be enormous. Freddie walks in and closes the door behind him. He opens the bag and pulls out a wig, a short, army-style wig, then aviator sunglasses, a leather jacket similar to his, and a military cap. Diana stares at the items. "Freddie, what? You said you wanted to disappear," Freddie interrupts gently. "So we're going to make you disappear. You're not going as Diana tonight. Tonight, you're just a woman who wants to have fun. No titles, No protocols, no rules. Diana picks up the wig. It's surprisingly well made. She wonders where Freddie got it, but she doesn't ask. She's learning that sometimes it's better not to ask too many questions. What if someone recognizes me? She asks. Freddie shrugs. Then we run. But trust me, darling, nobody is looking for Princess Diana in the places we're going tonight. For a moment, Diana hesitates. This breaks every rule, every protocol, everything she's been trained to do since she became part of the royal family. If anyone finds out, if the press gets wind of this, the headlines would be brutal. But then she thinks about the alternative, going back to bed, lying awake for hours, waking up tomorrow to do it all over again. The same smiles, the same waves, the same feeling of slowly disappearing inside a life that looks perfect but feels empty. What's the point of being a princess if you're not even allowed to be yourself? She takes the wig and puts it on, then the cap, then the jacket. She looks in the mirror, and she doesn't see Princess Diana anymore. She sees a stranger, someone who could be anyone, someone who could go anywhere, someone free. Freddie stands behind her, looking at her reflection. He smiles. Perfect. Now let's go before you change your mind. They slip out of the palace through the side entrance. No headlines, no cameras, just two friends sneaking out into the London night like teenagers breaking curfew. There's a car waiting. Not a royal car, just a regular black car with a driver Freddie trusts. Diana slides into the back seat and Freddie sits beside her. As they pull away from the palace, Diana looks back through the rear window. The massive building is lit up against the night sky. Imposing. Beautiful. A prison with chandeliers. She turns back around and doesn't look again. Where are we going? She asks. Freddie grins. You'll see. They drive through London. At this hour, the streets are mostly empty. A few taxis, a few late-night buses, people stumbling out of pubs, normal people living normal lives. Diana watches them through the window with a strange kind of longing. After about 20 minutes, the car slows down. They're in South London now. Vauxhall. Not an area Diana has ever visited, not officially anyway. The car pulls up outside a building with a simple sign, Royal Vauxhall Tavern. Music is thumping from inside. Even through the closed doors, Diana can hear it. Laughter, voices, life. A gay bar? Diana asks, not judgmental, just surprised. The gay bar, Freddie corrects with a smile. One of the only places in London where people can truly be themselves, where nobody is pretending, where nobody is judging. I thought you might appreciate that tonight. Diana looks at the entrance. People are going in and out, men holding hands, women kissing. Things that would make the palace clutch their pearls. Her heart races. She's never been to a place like this. The royals would be horrified. The press would have a field day. But Freddie squeezes her hand. You're safe with me, Diana. I promise. And if at any point you want to leave, we leave. No questions asked. Diana takes a deep breath. She nods. They get out of the car. Walking toward the entrance feels surreal. Diana keeps expecting someone to recognize her, to point, to shout her name. But nobody does. In her disguise, with Freddie beside her, she's just another person on a night out. They walk through the door. The inside is exactly what you'd expect from a South London gay bar in 1987. Dark, loud, packed with people. There's a small stage at one end where someone might perform later. A bar along one wall. And in the middle, people dancing, laughing, living. Nobody looks twice at Diana. For the first time in years, she's invisible, and it feels incredible. Freddie leads her to a corner booth. It's quieter here, away from the main crowd. They can still see everything, but they're not in the middle of it. A bartender comes over. Freddie orders drinks. Diana doesn't even register what he orders. She's too busy looking around, taking it all in. People are dancing. Really dancing. Not the careful, controlled movements of a royal ball. These are people moving like they mean it, like the music is inside them and has to come out. She sees two men kissing in a corner. She sees a group of women laughing so hard they're holding on to each other to stay upright. She sees people being themselves. This is what freedom looks like, Freddie says quietly, watching her take it all in. Diana's eyes well up. She blinks rapidly, trying not to cry. I forgot what that felt like. The drinks arrive. Freddie raises his glass. To forgetting who you're supposed to be and remembering who you are. They clink glasses. Diana takes a sip. It's stronger than what she usually drinks at palace functions. It burns a little going down, but it feels real. They start talking, really talking. The kind of conversation you can only have at 3 a.m. when the rest of the world is asleep, and it feels like you're the only two people awake. Diana tells Freddie things she's never told anyone, about the loneliness, about feeling trapped in a marriage that's falling apart, about loving someone who doesn't love you back, about smiling through charity events while crying in private, about wanting to scream but having to whisper, about reading horrible things about yourself in the papers and not being allowed to defend yourself. Freddie listens. He doesn't interrupt. He doesn't offer solutions. He just listens. And then he shares his own stories, about hiding who he really was for so long, about the fear of being rejected, about finally choosing to live authentically, no matter what it cost him, about losing friends to AIDS and watching the world look away, about loving someone completely and knowing that society would never accept it. You know what the worst prison is, Diana? Freddie says, his eyes serious. It's not the palace. It's not the press. It's not even the people who hate you. The worst prison is pretending to be someone you're not. Because that prison, you carry it with you everywhere, even when you're alone. Diana nods. Tears are streaming down her face now, but she doesn't care. Nobody here is watching. Nobody here is taking photos. She can cry if she wants to. I don't know how to be myself anymore, she admits. I've been playing this role for so long, I don't remember who I was before. Freddie reaches across the table and takes her hand. Then we'll have to remind you. At around 3 a.m., the music changes. Something upbeat and joyful comes on. The dance floor, which was already crowded, becomes even more packed. Freddie stands up. He holds out his hand. Dance with me. Diana freezes. Freddie, I can't. Yes, you can. Nobody here knows who you are. Nobody here cares. You're just another person who wants to dance. So dance. Diana looks at his outstretched hand. She looks at the dance floor, at all those people being free, and she makes a choice. She takes his hand. They move on to the dance floor. At first, Diana is stiff, careful. Her years of royal training have taught her to be controlled, measured, perfect. But Freddie won't let her. He spins her. He makes her laugh. He dances ridiculously, and she can't help but join in. Slowly, she lets go. She starts moving the way she wants to move, not the way she's supposed to, not the way that would look good in photos, just moving. She dances with Freddie. She dances with strangers who don't know she's a princess. She spins and laughs, and for those few minutes, she's not Diana, Princess of Wales. She's just Diana, a woman who loves to dance, who loves to laugh, who is alive. The song ends, another begins. They keep dancing. Around 4 a.m., they finally leave the dance floor, sweaty and breathless and happy. They collapse back into their booth. Diana is smiling, really smiling, the kind of smile that reaches her eyes. That was, she starts, but she can't find the words. I know, Freddie says, smiling back. But then something happens. A man approaches their table. He's had a few drinks. He's swaying slightly. He stares at Diana for a long moment. Diana's heart stops. You look really familiar, the man says, squinting at her. Freddie tenses beside her. For the first time tonight, Diana sees a flash of concern in his eyes. The man continues to stare. Have we met before? You look like someone I know. The booth suddenly feels very small. Diana's mind races. If he recognizes her, if he tells anyone, if word gets out. But Freddie, ever the performer, doesn't miss a beat. He laughs loudly and puts his arm around Diana's shoulders. She gets that all the time, don't you, darling? People always say she looks like someone famous. Usually they say she looks like that princess. What's her name? Diana? But trust me, mate, she's nobody special, just my friend from work. He winks at Diana. The man stares for another moment, then shrugs. Yeah, I guess. Sorry, you just really look like someone. He wanders off. For a moment, neither Diana nor Freddie moves. Then Diana exhales, and suddenly they're both laughing. The kind of laughter that comes from relief and adrenaline and the absurdity of it all. That was too close, Diana whispers, her hands shaking. Freddie grins. That's what makes it fun, darling. But they both know it's time to go. Dawn will be breaking soon, and Diana needs to be back at the palace before anyone notices she's gone. They slip out of the bar as quietly as they entered. The car is waiting, but before they get in, Freddie stops. Wait, let's watch the sunrise. They walk a little way from the bar to a spot where they can see the Thames. The sky is just starting to lighten. that particular shade of blue-gray that comes right before dawn. They sit on a wall, side by side, watching the sun slowly rise over London. "Thank you," Diana says quietly, "for tonight, for letting me be myself, for not treating me like what I am." Freddie looks at her. In the early morning light, without the wig and the disguise, he can see Diana clearly. Not the princess, just the woman. Tired, sad, but also, right now, a little bit happy. "You deserve to feel this way every day, Diana," he says seriously. "Not just for one night. You deserve to be free, to be yourself, to be happy." Diana's eyes fill with tears again. "But you know I can't. Tonight, this was a fantasy. Tomorrow, I go back to reality." "I know," Freddie says softly, "but promise me something." "What?" "Promise me you'll never forget how this felt. Right now, this moment. Promise me you'll fight for moments like this, even if they're rare, even if you have to steal them. Because you deserve to be free, Diana. Even if the world doesn't want you to be, even if your life doesn't allow it, you deserve it." Diana looks at him, this man who barely knows her but understands her better than people she's known for years. This man who risked his own privacy and safety to give her one night of freedom. She squeezes his hand. "I promise." They sit in silence, watching the sun rise. The city is starting to wake up. Early morning workers heading to their shifts. Newspaper delivery trucks making their rounds. Joggers starting their morning runs. Normal people living normal lives. And for a few perfect minutes, sitting on that wall with Freddie beside her, Diana is one of them. Just a woman watching the sunrise. Not a princess, not an icon, not a headline. Just Diana. The car takes them back to Kensington Palace. As they pull up to the side entrance, Diana takes off the wig, the cap, the borrowed jacket. She's herself again. Or rather, she's Princess Diana again. The transformation feels heavy. "Same time next week?" Freddie jokes. Diana laughs, but it's bittersweet. They both know this can't happen again. It was too risky, too dangerous. One night of magic is all they get. She hugs him, holds on tight. "Thank you, Freddie, for everything." "Anytime, darling. And I mean that. If you ever need to disappear again, you know my number." Diana slips back into the palace. The sun is fully up now. The staff will be waking soon. She has maybe an hour before she needs to be up, dressed, ready to be Princess Diana again. She goes to her quarters, takes off the jeans and sweater, the clothes that made her feel normal. She lies down on her bed, still fully dressed, and closes her eyes. And for the first time in months, she sleeps. That night remained a secret for years. Freddie never told anyone. He kept Diana's confidence the way true friends do. Diana never spoke of it publicly. How could she? The headlines would have been brutal. The palace would have been furious. The damage to her already fragile marriage would have been irreparable. But those close to her said that something changed after that autumn. Diana became bolder, more defiant, more herself. She started breaking royal protocol more often. She hugged AIDS patients when the palace told her not to. She spoke openly about her struggles with bulimia and depression when she was told to stay silent. She divorced Charles when everyone said she should stay and endure. She became, in many ways, the Diana the world remembers. Not perfect, not always following the rules, but real, authentic, human. Maybe that night with Freddie taught her something powerful. Maybe watching those people in that bar, dancing and laughing and being themselves without apology, showed her what was possible. Maybe Freddie's words stayed with her. The worst prison is pretending to be someone you're not. And maybe, just maybe, Diana decided she was done with that prison. Years later, after Freddie died in 1991, Diana attended his tribute concert. She sat in the audience, tears streaming down her face, as Elton John and others celebrated Freddie's life. And some people who were there that night swear they saw her smile. Not a sad smile, not a nostalgic smile, but a smile of gratitude for a friend who saw her, really saw her, for one perfect night of freedom, for a sunrise over the Thames, for a promise kept.